Well, what do you think? She yelled. Why else would I be here? To buy groceries, get gas, harvest soybeans? Of course I want a car wash. That's why you're here, isn't it? Sure, Rosie answered loudly. Then in a lower voice, she said to me and Simon, I think we better just wash a car. Simon and I both nodded. Okay, but we need to hurry up. Dad's getting closer every minute. Simon whispered to us. Then, in a louder voice, he said to Myrtle, You don't need to pay us. Don't be ridiculous. What kind of business are you running here anyway? The old lady asked. They charge $10 down at Sudsy Sam's. It's not worth $10, but it's the only car wash in town. They don't wash the hubcaps, and I like hubcaps. I like mine shiny. Will you wash my hubcaps? I think she might be a little crazy, Simon whispered. She's not crazy, Rosie giggled. She's just old and funny. We'll wash her hubcaps, I yelled. Chapter 7. We washed Myrtle's car. She stood at the side of the driveway. She liked the way Simon and I gave Rosie a boost so she could reach the roof of the car. We were starting on the hubcaps when Myrtle called me over. Can you help me with this? She asked and held her cell phone out to me. I want to call my friend Joe, and he lives at the Breezy Acres retirement home. And you want to call him? Yes, I do. Got something important to tell him, Myrtle said, but I don't know how to use this doggone phone. My daughter got it for me. She put Joe's number in there somewhere. It's supposed to make life easier. Hogwash. That's what I say. It's like this hearing aid thingamajig. Sounds like buzzing, like mosquitoes. Did I tell you that already? Yes, you did. My name's Myrtle, and it rhymes with turtle, she told me again. Then she got a funny look on her face. She stared at the top of my head for a few seconds. You remind me of my cat. Her name is Frenchie. Your hair reminds me of her fur. It has a wonderful sheen to it. Thanks, I replied, because I don't know what else to say. Nobody had ever, compared me to a cat before. I showed Myrtle how to use the home button to activate her home phone. I found Joe's number on her favorite screen and told her to touch it. Why should I touch his name? Myrtle said. Well, that's how you call him. But where are the numbers? She wasn't quite getting it yet. You need numbers to call somebody. Everybody knows that. The phone knows the number, I said. Your daughter put it in there. So Myrtle touched Joe's name, and I motioned for her to put the phone up to her ear. It's ringing. By golly, it's ringing. Then I went to help Simon and Rosie with the hubcaps. I know Myrtle wanted those hubcaps shiny. We could hear her talk to her friend Joe as we worked. Joe, it's Myrtle, she said loudly. Listen, I'm getting a car wash on Maple Avenue where the old soybean farm was. They cleaned the roof even though they can't reach it. You should have seen it. Bring your car over. It's filthy. Tell everybody at Breezy Acres. Rosie, Simon, and I all heard her. Huh. No, Simon whispered. No. The garage will never be cleaned by the time Dad gets home. When we finished, Myrtle paid us $15. $15 each. She told us we were better than Sudsy Sam's. We said goodbye and watched Myrtle pull slowly, very slowly out of the driveway. Simon said, I wish my dad drove slow. As soon as Myrtle pulled out, Joe drove in, and there were 3 cars behind his. He washed Joe's car. Then we washed cars for Harriet, Hazel, Becky, Archie, and Gladys. We washed 7 cars and made $15 per car. Rosie did the math in her head. We made $105. That worked out to $35 each. Oh, that's more than I get for my birthday, Simon said. He was very excited. Rosie and I were too. It was a lot of money. Then Simon's mom came out again. My car looks great, kids. She told her we washed 7 other cars. We told her we made $105, and she whistled at such a big amount. Then we told her all about Myrtle. She thought it was super funny that Myrtle talked really loud and said her name rhymed with turtle, like 1,000,000 times. Mom, Simon asked, can you show us where Dad is now on the map? And she did. He was almost to Indianapolis. We are running out of time. Chapter 8. The garage was totally full of stuff. Where should we start? Simon asked. Let's pull up everything out, Rosie suggested. Then we'll put it all in the driveway. Well, we should knock down the cobwebs and sweep the garage out anyway, right? Then we can clean stuff and bring it all back in. Here's some of the stuff we moved out to the driveway. Hammers, wrenches, and screws, paint cans, gardening tools, buckets of nails, shovels, 8 plastic pink flamingos, 2 rubber bins. And here's the whole list of things that were in the garage. Stack of old newspapers, 1 big adult bike, a big plastic snowman, Simon's broken bike, 2 hoses, a lawnmower, and a bunch of other stuff. It took almost an hour to get everything out of the garage. Simon went to check with his mom. His dad was closer now. He was past Lafayette, Indiana. Simon and Rosie let me do the organizing because I like to organize. My brain is good at that. I put everything together in categories. Some of them made perfect sense to Rosie and Simon. A bunch of outside stuff, 2 rakes, and the hoses were grouped together, and then I grouped Simon's stuff, the balls, the skateboard, his broken bike. But some of the groups didn't make as much sense to them. Here's an example. The motor oil, the Easter basket, a broom, a rake, and the adult bike. "Why are these things grouped together?" said Rosie. I thought it was kind of funny that they couldn't tell why. I mean, it was obvious to me. "It's the Wizard of Oz group," I answered. "The Wizard of Oz," Simon said. "Well, the Tin Man needed to be oiled all the time, so that's the motor oil. Dorothy rode around on her bike and carried Toto in a basket. The Wicked Witch of the West rode around on a broom. And you could use a rake for sweeping up straw. That's the scarecrow." Susie and Rosie nodded and smiled at me. They really understood how my brain works. It made sense to them. We put a lot of stuff on the 3 tables after we unfolded the legs. The rest we just put in the driveway. Once everything was organized, we each took a broom and knocked a bunch of cobwebs and dust off the garage walls. It took a little while, but we didn't see any actual spiders. Good thing. When that was done, we swept the floor. We built up a big cloud of dust and whooshed it out the door and away from the newly washed car. The dust cloud was so thick that we could barely see through it. When that big dust cloud settled, we could see better. We couldn't believe what we saw. Uh-oh. Where did all the dust go? Hopefully not on Mom's car. That's the end of chapter 8. Now we'll go to chapter 9.